Have you ever reached for what you thought was a healthy snack, only to wonder later if it could actually be harming your brain? Imagine this. You're sitting at your kitchen table, enjoying a piece of fruit you've eaten hundreds of times before, feeling proud of making a good choice. But what if that very fruit, so sweet, so tempting, was quietly increasing your risk of stroke without you even knowing it? It sounds shocking, but this is exactly what I see too often in my practice. I'm Dr. Linda Rose, and I've spent decades helping people just like you protect their memory, circulation, and overall brain health. Over the years, I've noticed a pattern. Certain fruits, though commonly considered healthy, can carry hidden risks that most people, even the most careful eaters, don't realize. These are risks that can quietly accumulate, sometimes leading to dangerous strokes that could have been prevented. Today, I want to reveal the fruit that is most dangerous for your brain, and more importantly, explain why it poses such a risk. I'll share the science in simple, clear terms, so you understand exactly what to avoid and how to protect yourself. By the end of this video, you'll feel empowered to make smarter choices for your brain health, without fear or confusion. Before we get started, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell, so you never miss a simple, science-backed health tip, designed especially for older adults like you. If you find this video helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your feedback is invaluable and helps me improve these videos for your benefit. Now, let's begin. Mechanism 1. How this fruit raises your blood pressure and stroke risk. When it comes to protecting your brain, one of the most critical factors is your blood pressure. High blood pressure is a silent enemy. It can slowly damage blood vessels, reduce blood flow to the brain, and dramatically increase your risk of stroke. Many people don't realize that even a seemingly harmless fruit can play a role in raising your blood pressure, especially if eaten frequently or in large amounts. Here's what I tell my patients. Some fruits, particularly those that are very sweet or processed into concentrated forms like juices or dried snacks, can cause your body to spike insulin levels. That spike doesn't just affect your blood sugar. It triggers a cascade of changes in your circulatory system. Your blood vessels may constrict, your heart works harder to pump, and your blood pressure rises, often without you feeling any immediate symptoms. Over time, this subtle strain can make your arteries less flexible and more prone to damage. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone who loves snacking on sweetened dried versions of this fruit every day. They might feel fine, maybe even satisfied with their healthy choice, but inside their body, their arteries are reacting repeatedly to those sugar spikes. Each small increase in blood pressure, day after day, slowly wears down the delicate vessels that feed the brain. Eventually, this cumulative effect can lead to a sudden rupture or clot, what we know as a stroke. And it's not just about sugar. Certain compounds naturally present in this fruit can affect sodium balance in the body. Sodium, as you know, is closely tied to blood pressure control. Even though the fruit tastes sweet and innocent, these compounds can subtly cause the body to retain fluid, adding another layer of strain on your cardiovascular system. For someone in their 60s or 70s, whose arteries may already have some age-related stiffness, this combination can be dangerous. Here's a practical tip I always share. Moderation is key. If you enjoy this fruit, be mindful of portion sizes and try to pair it with foods that stabilize blood sugar and support healthy circulation. For example, combining a small serving with a handful of nuts or a source of protein can slow down the insulin spike and reduce its impact on blood pressure. Awareness and small adjustments can make a huge difference in long-term brain health. So, the first way this fruit endangers your brain is through its effect on blood pressure. It might seem harmless while you enjoy it at breakfast or as a snack, but repeated exposure can silently increase stroke risk over the years. Understanding this mechanism empowers you to take control, choosing timing, portion, and pairing wisely to protect your arteries and brain. Next, we'll look at another hidden danger of this fruit, how it can spike blood sugar and harm circulation, further increasing your stroke risk. Mechanism 2. How this fruit spikes blood sugar and harms circulation. When we think about stroke prevention, most people immediately think about cholesterol or blood pressure. But here's something that surprises many of my patients. blood sugar spikes are just as dangerous for your brain as high blood pressure. And this is where our so-called healthy fruit can quietly put you at risk. Let me explain. This fruit is naturally high in sugar, and even though it's natural, your body still processes it very quickly. When you eat it, your blood sugar rises sharply. Your pancreas releases insulin to bring it back down, but if this happens repeatedly over months and years, your body can develop insulin resistance. That's a medical way of saying your cells stop responding properly to insulin, leaving sugar lingering in your bloodstream longer than it should. Here's why this matters for stroke risk. High blood sugar damages the lining of your blood vessels, particularly the tiny arteries in your brain. Over time, this damage makes vessels more prone to clot formation and reduces their flexibility. Flexible arteries can handle changes in blood flow, but stiff, damaged vessels are far more likely to contribute to a stroke. Essentially, your body becomes a ticking time bomb with every blood sugar spike. I often see patients who eat this fruit regularly, sometimes even multiple times a day, thinking they're making a healthy choice. They are surprised when I tell them that over time, even small portions can quietly harm circulation and raise stroke risk. Think of it like tiny cracks forming in the plumbing of your brain's blood vessels. Each sugar spike adds a little more stress, until one day, a major problem occurs. But there's good news. You can protect yourself with simple strategies. For example, pairing this fruit with protein, healthy fats, or fiber slows down the sugar absorption, preventing those dangerous spikes. Drinking water and staying physically active also help regulate blood sugar naturally. Awareness and small lifestyle changes go a long way in protecting your brain, especially in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. So, the second hidden danger of this fruit is its effect on blood sugar and circulation. Even if you feel fine after eating it, your brain is experiencing repeated stress that adds up silently over time. Understanding this helps you make smarter choices, whether it's limiting portions, pairing wisely, or choosing alternative snacks that support long-term brain health. Next, we'll uncover another danger that often goes unnoticed: how this fruit triggers inflammation that can damage your brain over time. Mechanism 3. How this fruit triggers inflammation and brain damage. When it comes to protecting your brain, one of the most overlooked threats is inflammation. Many people think of inflammation as something that just affects joints or muscles, but in reality, chronic inflammation can silently attack your blood vessels, nerve cells, and brain tissue over time. This is where our so-called healthy fruit can become unexpectedly dangerous. Here's what I tell my patients. Some fruits, particularly those very high in sugar or naturally concentrated compounds, can activate subtle inflammatory processes in your body. Every time you consume this fruit, your immune system reacts to the sudden sugar load and other naturally occurring chemicals, producing small amounts of inflammatory molecules. These molecules circulate in your bloodstream and gradually irritate the delicate lining of your arteries and the tiny capillaries feeding your brain. Over months and years, this persistent low-grade inflammation can reduce blood flow, damage cells, and increase your risk of stroke. Let me give you a real-life example. I had a patient in her late 60s who loved this fruit daily. She felt perfectly healthy, but her routine blood work showed elevated markers of inflammation and early signs of vascular stress in her brain. She had no symptoms yet, but if this pattern continued unchecked, she would have been at significantly higher risk for a stroke. After adjusting her fruit intake and pairing it with anti-inflammatory foods like leafy greens, nuts, and fatty fish, her inflammation markers started to normalize. This shows just how powerful small dietary changes can be. It's important to understand that inflammation doesn't always make you feel unwell immediately. You might enjoy a juicy serving of this fruit, smile at its sweetness, and think you're doing something healthy. But inside your brain, microdamage is occurring silently. Over time, this can lead to cognitive decline, memory issues, and, of course, increased stroke risk. The takeaway here is simple. Moderation and smart combinations are your best allies. Pairing this fruit with fiber, protein, or healthy fats slows down sugar absorption and reduces inflammatory spikes. Regular movement, hydration, and anti-inflammatory foods in your daily diet also help protect your arteries and brain cells. The key is consistency. Small, mindful choices every day add up to long-term protection for your brain. So, the third hidden danger of this fruit is its potential to trigger inflammation that quietly harms your brain over time. Recognizing this risk allows you to make informed decisions and protect your circulation, memory, and overall brain health as you age. Next, we'll explore another surprising way this fruit contains hidden compounds that increase stroke risk, something very few people are aware of. Mechanism 4. Hidden compounds in this fruit that increase stroke risk. Most people assume that fruits are harmless because they're natural. But here's something I always remind my patients. Natural does not automatically mean safe for your brain. Some fruits contain hidden compounds that can quietly increase stroke risk, especially in older adults whose circulation and metabolism have changed with age. Let me explain. This particular fruit contains naturally occurring substances that can influence blood clotting, interfere with normal circulation, or even contribute to arterial stiffness. While these compounds are usually harmless in small amounts for younger, healthy adults, they become a concern when consumed regularly in larger portions, or if combined with other risk factors such as high blood pressure, diabetes, or existing vascular issues. Here's an example from my practice. I treated a patient in her 70s who loved this fruit and consumed it daily in her morning smoothie. Over time, her routine checkups revealed subtle changes in her blood markers, indicating increased clotting tendencies and reduced vessel flexibility. She had no symptoms, but these silent changes put her brain at risk. Once we adjusted her intake and focused on pairing the fruit with circulation-supporting foods like leafy greens and omega-3 rich sources, her blood markers began to normalize. The danger is subtle but real. These hidden compounds don't scream danger the way sugar spikes or high blood pressure might, but their cumulative effect can slowly make your blood more prone to clot formation. And as we know, a blood clot in the brain is one of the most common causes of stroke. Over years, repeated exposure to these compounds can quietly set the stage for a major health crisis. So what can you do? Awareness is your first line of defense. Limiting portion sizes, avoiding processed or concentrated forms of the fruit, and ensuring your diet includes circulation-friendly nutrients can dramatically reduce the risk. Simple steps like pairing the fruit with nuts, seeds, or whole grains can help stabilize blood flow and reduce the impact of these hidden compounds. The takeaway here is clear. Even fruits labeled as healthy may contain hidden elements that silently affect your brain and circulation. By understanding these risks, you gain the power to protect your brain, reduce stroke risk, and enjoy fruit safely, without unnecessary fear. Next, we'll cover the fifth and final mechanism. The long-term cumulative impact of this fruit on brain health and stroke risk. Mechanism 5. The long-term cumulative impact on brain health. Now that we've explored the ways this fruit affects blood pressure, blood sugar, inflammation, and hidden compounds, it's time to look at the bigger picture. The long-term cumulative impact on your brain. This is where the danger becomes most significant, especially for older adults in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Every small effect we've discussed doesn't exist in isolation. High blood pressure weakens arteries, blood sugar spikes damage vessels, inflammation irritates delicate brain tissue, and hidden compounds subtly increase clotting risk. Individually, these might seem manageable, but together, year after year, they create a perfect storm that slowly compromises brain health. The cumulative effect is what often leads to strokes, memory decline, and even long-term cognitive problems. I often explain this to my patients using an analogy. Imagine your brain's blood vessels as a network of roads. Each sugar spike, every inflammatory episode, every rise in blood pressure is like adding tiny potholes or cracks to those roads. At first, you barely notice. But over years, these small damages accumulate. One day, without warning, a major blockage or rupture occurs, a stroke that could have been prevented with mindful choices. This cumulative risk is why it's so important to pay attention even if you feel healthy. You might enjoy this fruit every morning, convinced it's harmless. But your brain remembers every spike, every subtle strain. Prevention isn't about avoiding fruit altogether. It's about moderation, timing, and pairing it with foods that support your circulation and reduce inflammation. Here's what I recommend to protect your brain long-term. Keep portions small, avoid concentrated forms like dried or juiced versions, pair with protein and healthy fats, and maintain regular physical activity. Include circulation-friendly foods such as leafy greens, nuts, and fatty fish, which help counteract the negative effects and support vascular flexibility. Small, consistent choices over months and years make a huge difference. So, the fifth hidden danger of this fruit is its long-term cumulative impact. Each serving may seem harmless, but over time, it quietly increases stroke risk and undermines brain health. Understanding this allows you to take control, choosing when, how much, and how to enjoy this fruit safely while protecting your memory, circulation, and overall brain vitality. Thank you for staying with me through this important discussion. I know it can feel overwhelming to learn that something as simple as a fruit you thought was healthy could quietly affect your brain. But here's the empowering truth. Knowledge gives you control. By understanding the risks, you can make smarter choices every day to protect your memory, circulation, and overall brain health. I want you to remember that prevention is always possible, even in your 60s, 70s, or beyond. Small, mindful adjustments, like moderating portions, pairing fruit with protein or healthy fats, and focusing on circulation-friendly foods, can dramatically reduce your stroke risk over time. You don't have to give up enjoyment or flavor. You simply need to make informed, consistent decisions that support your long-term vitality. As you move forward, think of this as a positive step toward taking care of yourself. Every choice matters, every habit counts, and every small change contributes to a healthier, sharper, and more resilient brain. Your future self will thank you for the care you take today. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to activate the notification bell. That way, you'll always receive practical, science-backed health tips designed especially for adults like you. And if you want to learn more ways to protect your brain and circulation, check out our related videos. They're full of easy strategies you can start using today. Remember, protecting your brain is a journey, not a single step. Approach it with patience, curiosity, and self-compassion. You have the power to reduce stroke risk and enjoy a vibrant, healthy life for many years to come. Stay empowered, stay informed, and take care of yourself. You deserve it.